Hello and welcome to another episode of All Elite Arcade. It is Monday, your day for video games discussions right here at AEW Games. I'm Evil Uno as always, here with my good friend, the Chugs. How you doing this week, Chugs?
I'm doing great. It's been a pretty wild week, Uno, in the world of gaming. It's been a pretty wild week, but it's been a good week. It's been a good week. How about you?
It's been pretty good on my side as well. I'm excited, and I'm sure we will both share about our very very intense and difficult pre-order situations. But I've
Yes.
also played not a lot of video games, but I did play a lot of one video game. And I'm sorry to everyone who has heard me over the last 3 weeks, but I'm about to gush about Blueprints again.
I love it. I love it, Uno. Keep it coming.
I need to because I have no other vehicle to discuss this, and so I need to do it here. First of all, I'm going to go through and do this without any spoilers first, and then I will actually get to spoilers a little bit because I'm just fascinated by how much is in this game. But I'm now at about, I would say, 60 hours into this game. I rolled credits at 18 hours to give you an idea. So at 18 hours, I officially roll credits and would theoretically have finished this game. But as you can tell already, I played another 40 hours, so there is a lot more content. And that's kind of what I want to talk about this game. This game does not seem like it has an ending. Every time, so initially it looked like, so the initial part of the game, you have to try to get to room 46. I got to room 46, you think like, oh, great. There can't possibly be more. But as you're doing your room 46, you know, and you've seen puzzles that you're like, I can't solve this and I don't understand this. And when you enter the next phase of the game, it starts giving you new rooms that you didn't have capabilities to open before, and so you can get more information. And it essentially plunges you into a multitude of new missions. They establish a trophy room where, much like achievements, there are like specialty runs that you have to go through. So getting to room 46 within an hour of game time, getting through it through a dare mode and a cursed mode, which is things you can unlock through a certain room. And I thought, like, okay, incredible. I'll get all these achievements. What I didn't realize I was playing this is that that's only the surface of things I had to do. There are even more puzzles, and there are more floors and more buildings to explore than just the mansion. It's expanded.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's expanded to, because you are facing the mansion when you start the game, but you can exit the mansion and walk on the grounds, which is just like the terrace and kind of like your driveway and stuff. And there's little doors and indications that there might be places you could go further, but I've now expanded a big part of this, and I'm realizing there is so much for me still to explore. I'm going to get into spoilers now, and so I'm going to throw this big X. You have your chances.
I'm going to help you.
There you go. If you don't want to know about late blueprint stuff, now's your chance to stop. I don't even know if this is late. That's the hard part of this game, is that I've been playing this for 60 hours. I have a certain amount of people that have gone this far. Most of my friends have given up by now, and I will not. But one of my friends is one of the few people who has gone further. So I've reached room 46. Once you reach room 46, it's about exploring the rest of it, doing the achievements. There is a specialty test you have to take. So like within the game, you can start building classrooms, and in the classrooms, you're essentially going through 8 different classes to eventually go to a final exam. That's one of the things I got to finish. I still haven't done that either. But even beyond the 46 rooms, they then tease you with like, you have to find 8 red letters. Okay, I've gotten that. I'm now at 7 letters. Am I getting close? Also, by the way, no, you don't need those 8 letters alone. You also have to enter into 8 closed rooms in the basement of the building that you have to solve puzzles to find the keys. Okay, cool. Let's find these keys. Once you find the keys, you enter these rooms and realize there's a puzzle in there. And the puzzle throughout the entire game, if you're learning because it's the world building in this game is incredible. It's about a family, and it's about a family tree of dissension and inheritance and family trauma and family splitting and the kind of like there's a bigger picture as well. But then on top of that, there's also a political aspect to this game. So when you finally get through these doors, you have to resolve what is called sigils. And the only way you can resolve what those sigils is find them throughout the entire game, take note of what they are, find the books that tell you how to decipher them to then solve them. So I thought, oh my God, this is already too much work. I can't possibly be anywhere close. So I'm approaching this end thinking, this is it. This is the end game of this game. I'm 60 hours in. How much more can there possibly be? So a friend of mine told me that there is more after this. There's a whole other section after this that I need to unlock. And I don't know, I have not gone online and done this myself, so this might be inaccurate, but from his understanding is that no one's actually 100% completed this game yet. That people are still deciphering puzzles, are still finding larger layers of the game, because, and this is where I got to do spoilers. The game starts as the base, as the mansion, but eventually you find the basement, and the basement leads to another basement, which leads to another basement, and on top of that, those also lead to rooms outside. So like the basement will start splitting out into rooms that fill up the grounds. So the grounds fill up with, like, you have a garden, you have a mine, there's like 6 permanent things you can get outside that help you run. I thought that was it. And then on top of it, I'm now realizing that within those, there's further paths for me to explore that I have to figure out how to do. This game is unraveling to be a point where I feel like I say this once a year. This might be my favorite game of all time at this point.
Wow.
Yeah, really? I'm a big puzzle guy. Witness was always mine. That sense of discovery and that sense of like learning knowledge and feeling very smart as you play is a thing I love. Like using actual skills, actual notebooks, and deciphering things, doing puzzles, cipher puzzles, number puzzles, whatever they may be. I love that stuff. And so The Witness was my favorite game because it was a bunch of line puzzles, and it really showed you the scope of what you could do with one format of a puzzle. And if you've never played The Witness, here's another quick spoiler, but the beauty of that game is as you get further, there's a point of realization that there are puzzles everywhere in the game. We're not just talking about the puzzles you see, but as you move around, because it's a line puzzle in The Witness, if you see a line in the world, you can actually click in the world and follow it through the world. So like if a cloud formation moves around the sun and it becomes a circle into a line, you can make that line, and that's actually a puzzle you unlock. So incredible thing in The Witness. This game has done this 5 times over. Every time I feel like I'm hitting a bottom, or every time I feel like I have an understanding of it, it sends me into a whole other spiral of stuff. I just found in this basement of a basement of a basement, I just found a metro system that I think I might be able to metro around in, which means I don't know how much more stuff is down there. Anyways, I can't say more because I have not unlocked it, but I might be playing this another 60 hours. It is an incredible game that is definitely not for everyone. A lot of people have dropped out. It is a game that tests your patience because it's roguelike, and because you cannot confirm you will get the room you need to solve a puzzle each time. You have to pretty much experiment every time to see if you can decipher a different puzzle. So it can be a very lengthy process, but it's one that I've enjoyed so much so I have a whole booklet of notes. It is right now my favorite game of the year by far. But I played nothing else this week. This is all I did with my time, other with like I play little Picross games on my phone. But Chugs, on your end, I know you haven't played Blueprints, but you have been playing games on Twitch this week. What have you been doing?
I have, yeah. Just real quick to comment again, because I so agree with you as far as what makes a game so special. That sense of discovery and that sense of wonder is the absolute best thing ever. I felt that way with Elden Ring. I felt that way with the FF7 remake games. So it's so cool. Again, I'm not quite the puzzle master that you are, but I feel like I got to try this game at some point. It seems
you
so
definitely
good.
can give it a shot, but you can get a lot out of the first layer of the game and never delve deeper and still think that it's an incredible game. I'm just very hard-headed, and I know there are more puzzles, and I just don't want to quit. My brain is telling me, if you give up now, you're just not as smart as you think you are. So I got to go all the way to the bottom.
Got to go all the way, and you will.
I will.
So as far as the games that I've been playing, again, I actually didn't play as many different games as I did the past few weeks. But as far as the game I've been playing off stream, once again, Pokemon trading card game Pocket, still going through that.
Same here.
Actually, I have completed, I think I mentioned this maybe last time, but I did complete the Mew pack as far as the base cards. Yeah, well, 72 of 72. So I'm still missing like some star cards and gold cards and things like that. But as far as the ones that are marked easily within the pack, I've collected all of those.
Nice.
And I think I'm, 1 or 2 cards away from a couple of other packs as well. So I'm really, really getting close to completing everything. And actually, the other day, I went through, because I didn't realize this was a feature, but you can go through all the cards that you've missed and you can favorite them. So if you go through like a Wonder Pick, for example, there's like a big heart over the card that you're missing. So you can much easier see which cards you have and don't have, because I'm trying to complete everything. So I favorited every single card that I don't have, including the promo cards, which are like never going to be available. But I went through and did that to keep track of all the cards that I'm missing. So that took me about 15 minutes. But yeah, really, really enjoying that game. Still doing the battles, still getting my butt kicked now when I'm doing versus mode and playing other people. But as far as the solo battles against the computer, that's been going well also. So yeah, once again, have a blast every morning, every night. That's what I'm doing before I go to bed and right when I wake up. As far as on stream, again, I actually was only able to stream twice this week. But 2 really exciting things. First and foremost, I got to start my playthrough, my first ever playthrough of Final Fantasy VI, which I was beyond excited about. Again, many people regard this as one of, if not their favorite Final Fantasy. A couple people in the Chugs Army said it's their favorite game of all time. So very, very excited to play Final Fantasy VI. And I only played for about 2 hours, but man, it's good. Really, really good immediately. First of all, the story seems very, very interesting. It kind of grabbed me right away. There's stuff with magic being lost, and instead they're replacing it with gunpowder and metal and things like that. So that seems really interesting to me. Also, the music is incredible. The Final Fantasy VI main theme is awesome. I had heard that before. And then hearing some of the other battle themes. Again, the OST is just incredible, and it's wild to think that this came out on the Super Nintendo. But what's been really, really cool is seeing the comparisons and the similarities from Final Fantasy VI to Final Fantasy VII. For example, the very, very first boss that you fight in Final Fantasy VI is this snail-like creature that has a shell. And at the very beginning, you're with 2 characters who probably sound very familiar, Biggs and Wedge, who you also start with in Final Fantasy VII. But in Final Fantasy VI, you're playing as Terra, and you're alongside Biggs and Wedge, and you're fighting this snail monster. And they, at the very beginning, say, hey, this thing is dangerous. Make sure you attack the snail, but whatever you do, don't attack the shell. If you attack the shell, it'll counterattack with this really powerful attack that absorbs the energy. And it just so much reminded me of Guard Scorpion, where when you're with Cloud and Barret and you're fighting Guard Scorpion, and it gives you the warning to not attack while its tail's up, even though I will say in the original US release, there was a error in the dialogue where it actually said attack while its tail's up.
Really?
So it was very confusing as a kid to see that, but now it's been fixed. So I had to be very careful in this first battle of attacking this snail, and then there was a prompt of the snail making some sort of noise, and then it would disappear and go into the shell. So then you just had to wait until the snail ended up coming back out of its shell before you attacked it, and it did a bunch of damage. So I thought that was really, really cool and a good way to introduce kind of the battle system and the intricacies of the Final Fantasy VI battle system. So again, still very, very early in the game. I've already explored a couple of areas, a couple of castles. I've gotten quite a few characters that I've interacted with. I've already met Kefka, the legendary villain from Final Fantasy VI, who already seems like a total jerk. So I can only imagine how wild that gets. But yeah, really enjoying Final Fantasy VI. I'm sure I'm going to have a lot more to say about it. But again, immediately it's grabbed me, and I can tell it's going to be a really great Final Fantasy game. And other than that, The only other game that I streamed was Dark Souls 2 Scholar of the First Sin. And I wish that I could say that I finished the game. I was so close to finishing it yesterday. But unfortunately, I am at the final boss, and I had to get going. I had some stuff I had to do, so I wasn't able to finish it. Actually, after our podcast filming today, by the time you're listening to this, hopefully I will have finished Dark Souls 2 Scholar of the First Sin, which would be game number 69 that I've beaten on stream, which would be super, super cool. And it would be game number 8 that I've beaten this year. So I'm really, really hoping I can say that. I'm pretty sure I will. Because actually at the stream yesterday, I finished the third and final DLC, which is the Crown of the Ivory King DLC. And just playing through it again, I just want to reiterate how much I enjoy this DLC. It's incredibly challenging. But again, I think I had mentioned this, is I actually had to go through and meet a character who actually melted a bunch of the ice. And what this does is not only does it give you access to the main boss of the area, but then you go back through the level, because through the level there were all these chests and doors and pathways that were frozen off where you could not access them. So then you kind of restart at the beginning and you go through this huge area that you've been through. But again, there's a ton of items available, a ton of new areas to explore. And the purpose for this is the final boss of this area is the Ivory King, of course. And before you go into this boss fight, you have the option to find these Eliam Lois knights who can help you fight in this battle against the Ivory King. It's a great idea to get some help for this fight, considering there are a ton of soldiers of the Ivory King on his own that fight you. So if you don't have these soldiers at your side, you're fighting like 6 enemies at one time. I'm sure it's possible, but for me, there's just no way I would have been able to do it. So I went through and I fought that boss, and just once again, it's such a cool concept as you jump down into this pit, this chaos pit, where it's surrounded by the chaos flame. And there's all these knights that keep spawning in, and the knights that you rescued help you do this fight. And after your knights end up freezing a bunch of these gateways where these knights continue to come out, this giant gate starts rising up, and it enters into the arena, all this flame, and then the Ivory King just slowly walks through this gate, and the music kicks up. It's so sick. It's so cool. So then I fought the Ivory King. I was able to beat him first try, which I was very, very pumped about. But yeah, incredible boss. One of my favorite bosses in Dark Souls 2. Just such a cool, epic fight. But there is an optional area in Dark Souls 2, Scholar of the First Sin, in the Crown of the Ivory King DLC. Dude, Uno, it's got to be the most stressful and tricky area in Dark Souls 2, I think. I think it might even be worse than Shrine of Amana.
Beyond that one where you just have to like bowl through all those knights and stuff? It's more stressful than that. Dang.
I think so. So what it is you go, again, this is completely optional, but you hop into a coffin and you go to an area that's completely away from the base DLC from Eliam Lois. And long story short, you are in this giant snowfield where when the storm is going on, you can't see anything. You cannot see anything in front of you. You're running. You might be going the wrong direction. You have no idea. You have to wait every like 30 seconds or so where the storm kind of subsides for about 10 seconds. And then you look for any like landmarks or buildings or whatever. And then you try to make sure that you go in that direction. The problem is there is constantly these like electrified frost horses that just spawn and kick your butt, dude. They fly and they shoot lightning down. And the worst part is when you see a building, then the storm starts again. You're like, okay, I'm gonna go in this direction, and then you just hear a horse coming after you. It might be from the side. If it hits you, of course you're gonna lock on to this enemy. And then if you do eventually defeat this enemy, which continuously spawns, by the way, then you're completely lost. Then you don't know, am I going the right direction? Because you can't see. So I somehow managed to make it to the boss from this area. And again, the run back here, if I would not have beaten this boss first try, the run back is absolutely brutal. But yeah, the boss is a 2 tiger fight. There are 2 giant beasts that you have to fight at the same time. So it's incredibly stressful that you have to fight 2 at once. It was a very close fight, but fortunately I was able to do it. So yeah, very, very glad that I was able to finish the Crown of the Ivory King DLC. Very stressful DLC, but great.
What's the reward for that optional area?
Oh, just the souls of the enemies.
Oh, really?
It's
Wow.
just saying
Okay.
that you've beaten the bosses. Yeah. I mean, you get a decent amount of souls for sure, but there's no like incredible item or anything like that. And then I went on to fight the final boss. Or sorry, one of the final bosses in Dark Souls 2. The final boss, if you defeat King Vendrick, which we also did, who is this giant king enemy with a ton of HP. Very slow, but again, very powerful. If he hits you, it's a 1 or a 2 shot and you're done. So after defeating King Vendrick, at the end of Scholar of the First Sin, the final boss is actually 3 different fights. You end up fighting the Throne Watcher and Defender. You end up fighting Nishandra, and then specific to the Scholar of the First Sin game, you fight Aldia as the final boss. So I was able to defeat the Throne Watcher and Defender. Then I went to fight Nishandra, and the thing with Nishandra is, really, she's not too difficult, but the super difficult thing is she curses you, which cuts your HP in half and then constantly drains your health. I decided, because I had to get going, I'm like, I'll do one attempt. I failed miserably. Nishandra absolutely destroyed me. So actually, when I do stream it later today, the first thing I'm going to do is I got all 3 of the DLC crowns. Then I have to go back to Shrine of Amana and go into this door and get the King's Crown. And then when I have all of those crowns, I will speak to the spirit of King Vendrick. And then if I wear the crown is incredible because it prevents you from being hollowed and it prevents you from being cursed. So once you have that bonus, fighting Nishandra should not, knock on wood, be too difficult. But yeah, so I'm hoping today I'm going to be able to finish the game. That'll be the final From Software Soulsborne game with all the DLC that I need to beat on stream. So that was kind of all I did, but it had a lot to discuss for sure. So
yeah, seriously, a whole. And you know, from this, because I had always wondered in the recent, because I've never played through Dark Souls 2, but I had always wondered why they commonly would get you to go into a coffin for you to teleport or fall into a fall. And I never understood. I was like, what is this an established trope? Is this something? But now I'm realizing they must have done this in previous games as well.
Yes. Oh, absolutely. You've seen it in Elden Ring. You've seen it in Dark Souls 2. It's really cool, actually. And I know we've talked about this before, but when you look at Dark Souls 1, 2, and 3, even Demon Souls, and then you see Elden Ring, it's so cool to see that they've taken aspects from all those games and they've come up with what they have now. Like Elden Ring is like the ultimate culmination of all these games in a lot of ways. Like, for example, I think I mentioned this before, but power stancing, being able to hold 2 weapons at once, that was just a Dark Souls 2 thing. The only time you could do that again was in Elden Ring. So yeah, there's definitely a lot of similarities between a ton of the FromSoft Soulsborne games, and I love it. I love it. Dark Souls 2 is a super fun game. It plays very differently than Elden Ring or even Dark Souls 3. Much faster paced. Dark Souls 2 is definitely slower paced, but still an excellent game. So fun.
And what replaces it on your Twitch list after this?
Yes. So after Dark Souls 2 Scholar of the First Sin is beaten, I am going to do my first ever playthrough of Stellar Blade.
Ooh.
I am really excited. I was considering jumping into First Berserker Kazan instead, but I've been meaning to play Stellar Blade forever. I'm actually playing First Berserker off stream. Haven't had the chance to play it for a little bit, but yeah, Stellar Blade, I only ever played the demo. And the demo was incredible, super crispy gameplay, really, really fun. The OST is incredible. I've heard across the board, everyone who has talked to me says, dude, I know what type of games you like. You're going to love Stellar Blade. So Stellar Blade is next on deck after we finish Dark Souls 2.
Awesome. Well, very excited for you, especially that's another Souls-like game. And that came out really highly rated as well. I didn't get to have my hands on it either. But very excited for you to start on Twitch. I know both of us had some pretty lengthy pre-orders this week, and we're going to talk all about that right after this. And we're back. It is time for the news of the week. It was, you know what? There was a lot of cool games that came out, but the biggest pieces of news was that we had delays and delays and delays. But this week, finally, retail stores put up pre-orders for the Nintendo Switch 2 at midnight Eastern Standard Time. And it was, and I don't know if I'm allowed to swear in this show, so I'm going to say it it was awful. It was a heck of an awful night. I know
chaos.
Chaos. Both of us, Serpenico, a bunch of other ones at work, all simultaneously while actively working because we were doing a long taping. Collision, I think, had literally ended as we were all trying to put in our information to pre-order stuff.
Exactly.
I'll share my experience real quick. I actually never got to go through. After several hours of trying to go through the Walmart store, the Best Buy store, the Target store, I finally got, and Amazon as well, I finally got through to Amazon, got queued up for the line, and when it came time for purchase time, I was in America, but I was trying to use my Canadian credit card. They would not allow me to do it for some reason because I had... Anyways, by the time I had switched it around to make sure that my account matched my country, it was done and I could not pre-order. Thankfully, a friend of mine a day later was like, hey, I ended up getting a second Switch. Would you be interested in having it? I said, absolutely, you are saving my life. And on my side of things, I've now acquired a Switch 2, although it does look like, due to demand, I will probably be getting it late. And we will talk about that right after you explain yours, because you actually had a pretty... I think yours was a pretty cool thing in the end.
Yeah, it ended up being pretty cool, but also kind of a similar story to yours as well, Uno, just in a different way. So first and foremost, I know it's been so chaotic, so thankful that both of us were able to get a pre-order in, because it sounds like it was anybody's game. It was like a complete gamble of if this was going to work or not. But similar to what you said, we immediately wrapped up with our taping, and right after that, I ended up getting on the bus and immediately going into Walmart and trying to set up an account and refreshing the page. And I just, again, it was so overflowed with people trying to pre-order the Switch 2 that it was borderline impossible. It kept saying that there was an error and things like that. Long story short, a couple of friends of mine who were sitting near me were seeing me constantly refreshing my page, and they asked me, they're like, what are you doing? I said, oh, I'm trying to pre-order the Switch 2. It's at, Target, Best Buy, Walmart. And these friends were kind enough to, while I'm at Walmart, one person was in Target trying to refresh, and the other person was on Best Buy trying to refresh. They're not even looking to pre-order a Switch. They literally were doing this to be the absolute best and such nice people. So one of them ended up getting in line for Best Buy, and he went, oh my God, here you go. I got in. He handed me his phone. I filled out all my information, and I was able to pre-order a Switch 2 on my friend's phone, which is just absolutely wild. So I don't know if I would have been able to say I did pre-order a Switch if it wasn't for him. So I'm so thankful. But also, I did have a little scare, Uno, is I was so excited, so pumped. When I got back to the hotel, my credit card company told me they declined it for fraud.
No.
Because it was... Yeah, because it was not on my phone, which, again, I'm very thankful that my credit card company is very secure and things like that, which is awesome. But I was panicking because it said, if this was you, say yes. If it wasn't you, say no. So I said yes. And then the email I got was, okay, great. Now that we know that was safe and that was you, you can go ahead and try to make that purchase again. And I'm like, that's not how it works. I was in a pre-order line. I'm not going to be able to get back in. I'm screwed. So I called my credit card company and explained the whole situation. And fortunately, she was amazing. She went, oh, no problem. We'll go through and confirm it. You're good to go. You don't have to do anything. That pre-order went through. And I said, oh my God, thank you so much. You made my month. And she just laughed at me. And said, you're very welcome, because she could tell how bad I wanted to pre-order this Switch 2. So I did manage. The stars aligned. There were a couple of roadblocks in between, but I made it happen. I did get a pre-order of the Switch 2 with the Mario Kart World bundle as well.
Same here.
And to everyone else out there trying to get the pre-orders, wishing you the best of luck. I know it's just absolute chaos, but again, I feel like we're two of the lucky ones, man. I'm glad we made it happen.
And from everything I read report-wise, this was chaotic and a complete mess.
Yes.
Every storyline either could not handle the amount of people bandwidth-wise, did not have the stock for any of it, and Nintendo themselves have actually come out and said that there is no way they'll be able to manufacture enough Switch 2 for everyone to get it at launch. It just on... So the My Nintendo Store link, which we had talked about in the previous weeks, both of us ended up sending our emails in. Those pre-orders are not even in for North America yet. We've only done retail stores. So this is just a batch of consoles dedicated to that. There's a batch of consoles that's going to be dedicated solely through Nintendo to ship them to you through the My Nintendo Store. And to give you an idea, for as hellish And as crazy as the retail stores were for everyone in the world and how many people have dropped out on that, they ended up opening up the My Nintendo Store pre-orders to Japan only as of yet. They have the cheaper system that is only Japanese language one, and 2.2 million people applied on pre-order just through My Nintendo World. So much so that Nintendo had to come out and said that it is such a significant number of pre-orders, there is no way every customer will get their console at launch, and we don't know how long that's going to take, and plus on top of tariffs and all that, what's the fabrication of some of this stuff. So very excited to see the launch, how many of us will actually get it in the first week. My pre-order, my date of distribution or of shipment seems to already be 2 weeks after launch. So it might be a few weeks until I see mine. I don't know what yours discloses, but I also got mine through Canada, and I think Canada is getting a later distribution than America is as well.
So I got lucky. Again, I'm not gonna I'm gonna hold my breath on this one, but mine does say it will ship by June 5th.
Okay.
So I don't know if that means I will get it on June 5th or if I'll get it a few days later, but nonetheless, it does say it's going to ship by June 5th. So I know for the Series X and the PS5, I did get it day of, but I did both of those through Amazon. This is my first time going through Best Buy.
Okay. Yeah, this one's through Amazon for me, and it says by June 19th. So there might be a 2-week. There might be, they might have just put that as like a precautionary thing as well. To be seen. But I'm honestly just content, and thankfully I also even got a text from someone saying they also were capable of getting a second one. So I'm just content knowing I will be amongst the very few that does have it, because it's going to be extremely difficult to try and get your hands on one of these, because according to analysts, they believe Nintendo Switch 2 will be the biggest console launch in history, which is baffling because I want it pretty bad, and so I guess I shouldn't be that surprised. But to think that it's a bigger launch than a lot of the other games, Switch itself and Wii itself were immense launches. This is on its way to be an insane thing that we will probably never see again. I'm very excited to see what that first week is going to be like, because I think there's going to be a lot of heartbreak, unfortunately.
I know, which is a bummer. I really hope as soon as possible everyone gets their hands on a Switch 2. I know that with the Switch 1 as well, it was pretty tricky to get a hold of, like you had mentioned, but it's wild to think this could be the biggest console launch of all time, which is good news for Nintendo, because I know there was a lot of discussion of people saying, oh, Nintendo is one of those companies where it's every other console does really well. You know, let's say the Wii did great, the Wii U didn't do so well, the Switch did well. We don't know how the Switch 2 is going to do. Clearly, the Switch 2 is going to do really, really well. So,
yeah, and honestly, I was also because the discussions for the last few weeks were about how expensive the Switch was and how expensive the games were, and a lot of people were claiming that, like, well, this is where my stance is. I will not be buying a Switch 2. Well, I guess that was a lie, because, or at least some people are more than willing to get it, because it does seem like this will be an incredible launch. And I'm very excited for the Switch 2. Only a month to go to find out.
Oh my God, that's wild.
Yeah, it's so crazy. It's so fast. Okay, all right, next big piece of news, because this one I'm real excited about. Last week we made a prediction. We're talking about big June announcement. Xbox Direct. We're feeling so crazy about this. I bet you Oblivion is going to come out there and they're going to shadow drop it during that. Well, we were sort of right, because the day our podcast came out, they shadow dropped it that very morning. So the Oblivion remaster is out there in the wild. You can get it on Xbox Game Pass. You can get it on, believe, on all other consoles. Well, I think it's on PlayStation and Xbox and PC. I don't think it's on Switch. But you can go play that right now. I have not gotten my hands on it yet, and I can also say I can't make much of a judgment on the quality of this game, because I did not play the original. I've never played an Elder Scrolls games at all. But this will be my first Elder Scrolls game, because I've watched some videos of this, and it looks stunning. Already, 100,000 concurrent players on Steam just hours after the launch. So an immense thumbs up to their launch plan, and dropping it day of of the announcement, because that seems to have worked out really well. Great reviews across the board. And on top of that is people who have been playing it, who are huge fans of Elder Scrolls for Oblivion, have said that there is enough changes and there is enough quality of life stuff that you wouldn't even call this a remaster. You could call it a remake. Wow. Now, I tried to find, here's the thing. I've never played these, so it's very hard for me to say what new content they added in here. But obviously, visually, incredibly stunning. A lot of people say that it's essentially a brand new game. The content is all there. The voice is all there. It has the same intro recaptured into a new cinematic. They added some stuff to flesh out the character creation, so there's new content there. There's a lot of quality of life stuff. And so it seems like, all in all, this, on top of being a game everyone wanted to play, seems to be an incredible game. They look like they've knocked it out of the park.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, man. I also have not got my hands on it. That's one of two games that I definitely want to pick up and buy this week and start playing. But I have had the chance to watch a few hours of gameplay footage because my brother is a huge Oblivion fan. He was over the moon. Actually, how I found out that this got shadow dropped was I got a text from him in the morning going, "Oh my God, they shadow dropped Oblivion remaster." He was so excited. So I got the chance earlier today, and actually a little bit last night, to watch him play some of it. Dude, Uno, I know you've seen footage of it, but seriously, like, in person, it is gorgeous. The game looks unbelievable in Unreal Engine. It looks so good. And he's over the moon because Oblivion was his favorite Elder Scrolls game. And as he's playing it, I'm just asking him a bunch of questions. And he said it's just absolutely incredible. He said it's stayed true to what the original Oblivion was, but it's just upgraded it in every single way, whether it's the UI, whether it's the graphics, whether it's the music. He is over the moon about this game. It looks so good. Because I've only ever put a little bit of time into Skyrim, and he just keeps telling me over and over again, he's like, "You got to play Oblivion. You got to play Oblivion. It's the best." So I can't wait to try it. Game looks absolutely gorgeous. And again, I'm so glad that it shadow dropped.
I know.
We had a feeling.
We had a feeling. We knew it. We knew it.
Yeah.
We knew it.
Yeah, we knew it. We could sense it in our bones.
Oh, that's
it was
right.
in our bones.
And that's why I think Silk Song's also going to do the exact same thing. I'm making a bold prediction right now.
You darn right. We're going to be 2 for 2, baby.
That's right.
We're going to be 2 for 2.
June, I'm playing Silk Song. I don't care what anyone else thinks. It's getting shadow dropped. That's why they don't want to give us a date. They want to surprise us. I'm very excited for this. So I've never played a Elder Scrolls game. Actually, I did play Elder Scrolls Online for an hour, but it was not for me. Okay. I know a lot of people who play Skyrim. A lot of people love Skyrim. And but almost everyone that has played all the Oblivion games would always tell me, like, "Oh, Skyrim's kind of like a dumbed-down version of Oblivion and Morrowind. There are more systems. There are more characters. There's more branching paths in those games. It's just, it couldn't be made nowadays because graphically it could be impossible." Well, that's not the case anymore, because now, on top of having that big, crazy story, all these branching paths, all of that layers and layers of content, now it's gorgeous and it's new and it seems to be an immense success. Great reviews overall and a bunch of sales. And then on top of that, this has been a great week for video games because this is not the only game that is getting rave reviews. Xbox also dropped another game this week. It's on Game Pass. Clair Obscur Expedition 33. We had talked about it during the Direct that came out in, I think last summer is when they first showed it. And they also had an early access for a month for certain users that we were unfortunately not privy to play. But that's now come out. It is getting rave reviews everywhere. A lot of people are saying it's now doing the Elden Ring treatment, but for turn-based RPGs, which I don't know what that means. That seems so fascinating as a thing. But to give you an idea of how well it is doing, in one day alone, this game that has not had a ton of advertising before is already up to 500,000 sales. So this will be an immense success, and it is available on Game Pass to play right now. I've already pre-downloaded this because the amount of people in the 2 days that it's been out who have texted me and said, "Hey, this is the game of the year by far.
Yep.
Which in a year that we've already dropped a ton of game of the year games, I'm very, very excited to get some time into Clair Obscur and hopefully talk about it next week.
Dude, me too. Again, the two games I really want to get my hands on and play this week is, of course, the Oblivion remaster and, of course, Expedition 33. I remember when I first saw footage of this game, I was super interested. I thought the story seemed really, really cool. Ben Starr is an amazing voice actor.
Yes.
They've got an incredible voice cast from people from Baldur's Gate 3 as well. So it looked really cool. And then watching the reviews of people talk about it and the turn-based system and how you have to time things. It seems like a more intricate version of like Mario RPG. How like you do have to pay attention with button prompts and stuff during the fight to help you gain an advantage, or you're going to take more damage unless you time it correctly. So it seems really, really cool. Again, game looks beautiful, but the biggest thing for me is, again, I have a lot of friends. I really, really respect their opinion when it comes to video games. I've had people who haven't texted me about video games for over a year who said, hey, I don't know if you know about this Expedition 33 game, but I just played it for 8 hours. It's my game of the year. It's so good. You have to play it. You have to play it. So many people have said that. So to say I am excited to check this game out would be an understatement. It looks incredible. I love a good turn-based. I actually hope that this is the start of us getting more intricate turn-based RPGs. I love a good turn-based RPG.
Same.
So hopefully this is the start.
Yeah, and like Atlas has been kind of holding on to those with the Persona games, and obviously ReFantazio last year. So like they've been kings on this stuff, but they have their formula, and it very little changes. So I'm very excited there is some new life in the turn-based RPG style. I'm really excited for this. It's crazy how many great games we've already had this year, and it is crazy because we have Elden Ring coming out a few weeks from now. We've got Doom coming out a few weeks from now. We've got GTA this year. Donkey Kong still coming. Mario Kart World. I feel like there is no way this might go down as one of the best years of video games of all time.
It seriously might.
Yeah, it's
it seriously
looking like
might.
it.
And then if we get Silk Song on top of that, it's coming. But yeah, seriously, Uno, you're 100% right. This year is, and this, it's so funny. This has happened since I think 2023 was. I think that's when Tears of the Kingdom came out, or even 2022 with Elden Ring as well. But long story short, it feels like every year you're like, man, how are they going to top last year? And they just have been. Like, as the years have gone on, every single year is better and better and better. And you're right. With all these game releases we have coming up, a brand new console, it's such an exciting time. This really might go down, like you said, as one of, if not the best years ever in video games. I completely agree.
I am so excited. And most of the things that we've talked about are in the next few months. We don't even know what the second half of the year has in store. So there could be a ton of cool surprises still to see. And I know like we'll probably see new Call of Duty by the end of the year, and they've been on a roll. That last one was incredible, so this year could be just the same. We had Assassin's Creed that came out, and that was one of the better Assassin's Creed in quite some time. It's been very, very good, and I cannot wait to just spend all of my time ignoring other people and play video games.
Yeah, right. And dude, I wanted to mention too, because of the release date trailer, Ghost of Yote.
Yes,
Another
October.
That I'm like, October.
Yes.
October 2nd, I think. So, yeah, it's going to be an unreal. Exactly. I'm just going to sit down and play video games the whole time as much as I possibly can.
Yeah, don't even bother asking me to go out if you're one of my friends. I'm busy this year. 2025 is my year. Some other quick little pieces of news. Those were the big ones. But it would seem GTA 5 still the most watched video game on Twitch, with over 1.4 billion hours viewed in the last year alone. GTA 5 still dominating because, especially with GTA 5 Online, there's a whole community of that. I'm so fascinated to see what kind of Switch 5 to 6 is going to be. We have no idea. That's another one that, like, I feel like I played Game of the Year every month. This game, GTA 6, could drop mid-year, and it could ruin everyone else's chances. I'm very excited for that as well. But great news for GTA. They're still making hand over fist money wise.
Oh my god, yeah.
Other than that, we have some movie news. We talked about Split Fiction before. That's another great game this year. A lot of people have been pushing for us to play it. I've yet to do it, but I heard incredible things. Well, it seems that it was popular enough because there is a movie adaptation coming from the director John M. Chu, and the writers of Deadpool and Wolverine, and it will star Sydney Sweeney, who I only know a little bit of, but she seems like the hot actress at the time right now.
Very popular.
Very popular. So popular, in fact, that she's not only doing one video game movie, they're also including her and Michael Bay in a movie adaptation of Sega's Outrun, which I don't know if there's an audience for that one. That seems like a very hard pull, because it's a driving game, and two, I feel like that's a brand that's not been around in a very long time. But I'm very curious to see what they could do with both these. Split Fiction should be very interesting, though.
Yes, and I'll tell you what, I love all the video game adaptations, whether it's the TV shows or the movies. Keep them coming, baby. Keep them coming. But yeah, this seems really interesting and really, really cool.
And while there's other news pieces, there is one I wanted to delve deeper into, but I have not read enough about it to talk about it. But I don't know if you have heard about this, but the chipsets inside of a Super Nintendo have been running have been slightly running faster every time of use. And now 35 years further, they're finding out that their cartridges, I believe the audio chip that's in it is running too fast for the video games. I don't know what that implies. I have not read too far into it. But if you are interested in that and know more about it, please summarize your thoughts and your views in our comments, youtube.com/AEW Games. I would like to learn more about that because if it's doing that now, 35 year later, what's another 35 years going to do on these chipsets? Will the audio just be off? Will it? I don't know. Will it overheat? I'm really not sure what the implications of that are.
Right.
Anyways, that's it for your news of the week. We appreciate you all for listening, but we're not done. We're not done because it's time for our favorite segment of the show right after this. Welcome back. It is time for our favorite segment of the show, brought to you by our friends at UpperDeck.com. Collect your favorite wrestlers in 2024's Upper Deck, 2024's Allure Upper Deck, as well as 2025's AEW Upper Deck pack. That's right, there's a brand new pack that has just come out. We will be opening that, and you will be opening that if you go to UpperDeck.com, where you can wrap autographs, memorabilia, and premium tech inserts. What do we have in here, Chugs? Who are our lucky picks from the 2025 Upper Deck pack?
I was gonna say, we got the 2025 Upper Deck pack right here, and we're starting off good.
Oh, we got Private Party. Hell yeah.
Yes.
Jamie Hayter.
Nice.
Mariah May. I think maybe Mariah May's first one. Oh, Ian Riccaboni.
Maybe.
Yeah, Ian.
Let's go.
Phoenix.
Let's go.
We got Darby Allin. Oh, that one's a canvas card too. They're back.
That is. Ooh, and a shiny Jon Moxley with Renee.
Yeah. Right, oh wow, both on one card. Britt.
Nice.
And we've got the Kingdom.
There we go.
Roosh is on there too. Luchasaurus. Ooh. Oh, Brian Keith, you looking great in this picture, Brian.
Beautiful. A lot of good cards.
A lot of good cards. You get a lot out of that. And a wide variety. We got a shiny one. We got a canvas card all in one pack. Yeah. There are also autographed cards out there, as well as ones that have built-in pieces of gear worn by professional wrestlers. You can get all of that and so much more. Go to upperdeck.com to find our AEW cards as well as other sports memorabilia. We've got 3 questions from the community mailbag today. I'll lead the charge, Chugs. Who we got first?
Yes, starting off with Cameron. Cameron, thank you very much for the question. Cameron says, hey, Chugs and Uno, love the podcast. Thank you, Cameron. With the Switch era coming to an end, I was wondering which franchise do you think benefited the most? And which franchise are you hoping takes off in the Switch 2 era that maybe didn't during the Switch 1 era? Cameron, thank you very much for the question. As far as a franchise that I feel like benefited the most, this is such a tricky one because Nintendo is so great about constantly evolving and improving their franchises in so many different ways. But honest to God, I think when I really think about this, I do think The Legend of Zelda is the one that benefited the most with both Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom. Again, these games, The Legend of Zelda is obviously one of the biggest video game franchises of all time. It's regarded critically acclaimed. People love Zelda so much. But I feel like with Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom, it exploded, especially with social media and all the different creations you could make in this open world environment, especially in something like Tears of the Kingdom. And it drastically influenced the open world game in so many different ways, which is one of the hottest, most popular game genres in the world, without question. So I think in a lot of ways, even Elden Ring was influenced by Breath of the Wild and things like that. So yeah, I'm going to go with The Legend of Zelda as far as the impact it's made in open world games and just how popular. I'm not sure, but I feel like Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom have to be two of the best-selling Zelda games of all time.
They must
I don't know
be.
for sure, but they've got to be up there. They've got to be up there.
I would reflect on the same opinion for sure. I think Zelda has definitely benefited more than a lot of IPs. Yeah, and there's a lot of other IPs, like Kirby got a bunch of games on Switch. Bayonetta got a Wii U port, a brand new Bayonetta 3, and also Bayonetta Origins on this. But I think the one that benefited the most is Animal Crossing, because the last time we saw a proper Animal Crossing game was on DS and GameCube, and this one was like the first one that was very open to the internet. And part of it, obviously, it dropping in the pandemic really skyrocketed its popularity with everyone. Everyone I knew at one point was playing Animal Crossing. So much so that I think like the brand itself won a lot of people over, and I would not be surprised that when we eventually drop another Animal Crossing, probably on Switch too, that will also do gangbusters, and a lot of people are probably going to want to play that game, and that's all because of the fan base that it built through Switch One and its internet access. You know, the fact that you could pop into people's islands, that you could share people's content. I think that really elevated that brand, and that's all due to the Switch One. Predominantly, I think you are right. If you had to ask a person what these Switch games are, they would definitely say those Zelda games by far.
Sure. But yeah, that's a great point as well with Animal Crossing, because again, that just exploded, especially at the start of the pandemic. And then, Uno, I don't mean to speak for you, but to answer the second part of this question, I feel like we're both going to have the same answer as far as which franchise are you hoping takes off even more in the Switch 2 era. I'm going Donkey Kong.
Oh, yeah.
I think Donkey Kong Bonanza is the start. It's a brand new 3D Donkey Kong. Hopefully we get another 2D Donkey Kong. I want as much DK as possible in the Switch 2 era.
I know we do a lot of bold predictions, but I think Bonanza will do so well that by the end of the cycle of Switch 2, we will see another Bonanza game on the Switch, I think.
Ooh,
yeah, I think
awesome.
There will be enough of an audience that Donkey Kong will have a new life again. And then for me, especially, I hope we get to see classic 2D platforming back for more of that, because I like the last two ones that were by Retroware, and I think like more than ever there will be an appetite for Donkey Kong for sure.
Yeah, definitely. Cameron, thank you so much for the question. Really appreciate it.
Next question is by Zach. Zach, thank you for your question. What counts as beating a video game for you? Is it rolling credits, getting all the achievements, or something else? This will be a very simple one for me. My opinion is that you beat the game when you roll the credits. Not every games have credits. Somehow, some games just have an ultimate goal. I don't think 100% is beating a game. I think that is a different thing entirely. To me, when I aim to beat a game, I want to get through the final boss, hit that roll credit. I don't care what percentage I have. Once I have that roll credit, I've officially beaten the game to me.
Yep. Uno, I completely agree with you. To me, when you see the credits and you get to the end and again, you finished the game, to me, that is beating a game. But getting all the achievements, getting 100%, collecting everything, to me, that's completing a game. That is going through and doing everything that you possibly can. So, yeah, Zach, my answer is very similar to Uno. You beat a game when you see the credits. You complete a game when you get all the achievements or trophies.
Thanks for the question, Zach.
Yeah. Thank you for the question. Great, because I know people have varying opinions on that. But last but not least is from Mitchell. Mitchell, thank you for the question. Hey, Chugs. Hey, Uno. What's the longest you've ever gamed in one sitting? Mitchell, thank you very much for the question. I'm going to give two answers for this because I think technically the longest I've ever sat and played video games was my recent Stream 1000, where I streamed for 12 and a half hours. And a majority of that was me playing video games. So that was one where I streamed for a very, very long time and played games for a very long time. One of my favorite streams ever. But the other one that comes fresh into my mind is actually kind of what started this video game journey for me. And I've said the story a million times, but when I first played Halo 5, again, I started in the evening and I played like 8 to 9 hours through the night and just beat the entire campaign. So that was another one where I wasn't on stream or anything, but I just sat there and I was so laser focused and so engulfed by how amazing this game was that I just finished it. So yeah, either Stream 1000 or the first time I played the Halo 5 campaign where I just sat down start to finish the whole thing.
I had a multitude of 24-hour streams for charity that I've done over the years. I think I've done a total of 3. But the reality of it is, while I did play video games through a lot of it, I had immense breaks at times just because it was impossible, one, to keep people's attention on one game for so long, but also for me, realistically, wearing a mask, I could not do it all the way through without some form of break on occasion. So I've never done 24 hours, but I think I've at least exceeded 8 plus on a few video games. One, if I got really sick, back in the day as a kid, I would just sit in bed and play video games all day through. So I probably have reached the 8-9 hour portion back then a few times. But some of the ones that I know for sure that I have done, Elden Ring, on the first few days I got it, I definitely had 1 or 2 sessions of 6, 7, 8 hour plus courses through that game. I've done it. I've already admitted to it, but Blueprints I played 8 plus hours in one sitting as well. I would say 8 is roughly where I've done. I've that might be the maximum I've done in one sitting. I am capable of more, but truthfully, at some point your brain needs the rest, and you need to go out for a walk if you can. But I would say 8-9 hours is by average my longest one.
And I will say there is nothing better than waking up, the weather's kind of bad, maybe you don't want to go outside, and you have no plans that day or the next day, and you know that worry-free you can sit there and game for 6, 8, 10 hours at a time. It's the best. It's the absolute best.
It's one of the best
I gotta
feelings.
have another day like that soon.
Oh, me too.
Yeah.
I woke up this morning. I was like, "Oh, I have a scratchy throat. Do you think I can stay in? Do I think?"
I know.
No, I have too much on my plate. Too much on my plate. But this week I will definitely be putting in some time on both Oblivion and Expedition 33. So maybe by next week I will have a different answer. But thank you so much, Mitchell. Great questions. Yes. If any of you want your questions answered, you go to tbs.com/arcade mailbag. Send out your questions. We answer about 3 or 4 every single week, and it is by far our favorite part of the show. You can watch our show on YouTube, youtube.com/AEW Games. We see our beautiful faces every Monday at noon Eastern Standard Time, or continue listening to it on wherever you get your podcasts. It drops into the wee mornings of Monday every single week. Wherever you get a podcast, you could be listening to All Elite Arcade. Hit that follow button. It would do a whole lot for us. We appreciate you a ton. Great week of video games. Great week of news. And I just am so excited for the near future because there's so much going on. We're in for way more weeks of great video games very soon, too.
Yes. Yeah, this year, again, it's already been an incredible year, but it's shaping up to be, again, I know we had already said this, but it really is shaping up to be one of, if not the best years of all time. We got a bunch of great games to play.
Bunch of great games and a bunch of great games to talk about on our future episodes of All Elite Arcade. We appreciate you listening. We love you all, and we will see you next Monday. Bye-bye.